Welcome back to the IU427 Garage, everybody. This week we have some welcome and unwelcome surprises. All right, let's start with the welcome surprise. I finally, after all these months, have the engine and the transmission for the Coupe. Now, the unwelcome surprise that came along with that is the fact that they haven't been run in on a run-in stand. The engine has not been dynoed. And up and until last week, I was told that the transmission and the engine were all put together. This is what I got. So I got the Gen 2 Coyote here, and as you can see, there's no intake manifold on it. There's no flywheel. There's no bell housing. And there is evidently no transmission on the back of it either. If you look at the front of it, it has the water pump and the pulley on it, but nothing else. So I don't even have the alternator at this point. The owner is going to see if he can dig up the alternator. He thinks he has it at his house. I'll look forward to getting that and start assembling what's left to assemble on the engine. You know, it wasn't supposed to arrive this way. And I don't have a problem. I told the owner, you know, I've done more with less before, but it's always nice to, you know, when someone says that they're going to provide something for you at a certain stage of build, that's what you get. It's nice. And I'm not blaming the owner. This was something that was beyond his control. And, you know, I didn't look to burn any bridges when the guy who was holding on to this for all this time dropped it off at the shop here. But I think I burned that bridge. I don't think there's any rebuilding that bridge. But I would much rather have the engine here than at someone else's shop and having that, what's the word I'm looking for? The unpredictability about when it's going to be done. At least it's here now. And if I can get the transmission, the bell housing, the flywheel, the clutch, all that stuff on it, and get it in the car, then I'm in a much better spot than I would be if it were still somewhere else. So I did pick up an engine stand. I've got it right here. Although I had a Factory 5 Coyote engine stand, those of you that have built one of these Factory 5 cars and used the Factory 5 engine stand, it's solid as a rock. However, it's not easy to store. You have to completely disassemble it. It's heavy. And like I said, just to be able to store it in one piece takes up a lot of shop space. And I don't have the extra shop space, so I picked this one up. It's two pieces. One piece bolts onto one side, one piece bolts onto the other. And I dug up some casters that I'm hoping I'm going to be able to use to be able to roll the engine and stand around with, much like the one we have here for the small block Ford that's going into the Mustang. Now, I got a bunch of parts with this. They dropped off the drive shaft, so I've got that. It looks a little long, but we'll see. It's been my experience that with T56, even in the Coupe, that the drive shaft is much smaller than that, but we'll see. The transmission is over here, and even it is not complete as far as being bolted together. You can see the shifters just kind of resting in there, so I'm going to have to take care of that. There's some pretty parts in there. We've got some coil covers that have a Coyote logo on them. I think I've got some intake manifold gaskets inside there, along with some other stuff. I haven't had a chance to go through all this stuff. The engine was delivered on Friday, and today is Sunday. So I was so disheartened, and I had so many things happen this past week that I kind of just let it lie. I just didn't want to deal with it, you know. And every time I had to walk buy all this stuff in the shop. It reminded me of it, but you know, whatever. So here we've got another one of the coil covers. I don't know why they're not in the same box with one another, but you know, I didn't pack this shit up, so I couldn't tell you. There is some more stuff in that box. I believe that could be our Holley system, but again, I haven't opened up the box. We've got a QuickTime bell housing. We've got a clutch and a pressure plate bolted to a flywheel. I'm going to have to unbolt that in order to bolt it to the engine. And then we have the motor plate and a stack injection manifold and throttle bodies for the top of that Coyote. Now, this is one of those things that was supposed to be, you know, already on the car, and that was the whole reason that I was hoping this thing was run in, because brand new motor that someone else assembled. This is not a factory fresh motor. You know, this wasn't assembled by Ford. And so now we're not only going to have to start what is a fresh engine that someone else built, but we're going to have a stack injection kit on top of it running through a Holley EFI system that, although I have experience with, has never been run on this engine before. And so we're dealing with a lot of parameters here that I was hoping that someone else was going to deal with, because I've got enough to worry about just building the car. So we'll go over that and probably in more detail. I may bring you back later in this week to show you the stand that I bought for the engine. But those aren't the only things that have happened in the shop this week. And I know I'm going to lose probably half you Factory 5 guys at this point, because quite honestly, you're very fickle when it comes to anything that's not Factory 5 related. But you know, Factory 5, I don't live my life for Factory 5. There are many of other things in my life, and the Factory 5 is just one portion of it. So yesterday or the day before, was it Friday? I think it was Friday. So it was 2 days ago. Mrs. IE427 came in to the shop and went into her office, and obviously there was a noise in there that she wasn't accustomed to. Turns out it was one of the fans in the media server for the property. Now, I've said this before. I'm the guy that buys all of these DVDs that are in the $5 bin at Walmart. And when we see the DVDs as something that interests us, we buy them, and I rip them onto a program that's called, Handbrake. And what Handbrake does is it converts that video file into an MP4 or better, sometimes an MP5 or Mark V file format, and we're able to view it on any Roku device or any computer device on the property, which is pretty cool. We can even access it remotely through the internet. Now, I put all those videos on the server, and the server has four 4-terabyte drives inside of it. So it has plenty of storage capacity. It also houses the videos that you guys are watching. So I store all of these videos once I'm done editing them on the server. And then it houses all of our music and pictures and stuff like that. So it's a nice place to put everything so that you don't have it on multiple computers throughout your life. You're able to download your phone once a month or twice a year if you want, and get all your pictures off your phone, and you can store them on the server as well. So this is the server. It's a Dell, I think it's a T20 PowerEdge server, and I've had it for about 8 years, I think. And it's been rock solid. You know, I loaded this thing up. I think it's got 32 gigabytes of memory, so it's lightning fast, even though it's 7-8 years old. But it started making a noise, and generally when a computer starts making a noise, it's one of the fans. Now this computer happens to have 4 fans in it. It has a fan on the CPU, it has a fan for the case, it has a fan in the power supply, the one that I missed. Now, I'll get back to the one that I missed in a second, but the one that I missed is this one right over here. It's this tiny little fan that was on the video card. and it is just noisy as hell. It screams when the computer is on. And you know, this thing runs 24/7 all the time. It never gets a day off until it breaks. And I wasn't looking forward to replacing a video card because the video card's only 7 years old. You know, I probably could get many more years of use out of this thing. However, I'm having trouble finding that fan. Every fan that I find that is the same size, so this is a 4-centimeter fan, has 3 wires versus 2. Now I could probably order that fan and then make it work, but the fan is almost the cost of a new video card or a used video card, because I can buy a used video card and be completely content with it. The other option that I have is the Dell server has 2 video out. They just happen to be DisplayPort video out. Now that would put all of the load for the video on the computer, on the CPU that's in the computer. And I like having a separate video card because it basically takes the responsibility away from the CPU and the computer and lightens the load so it can process other things and be faster. But it's just a server. So I'm not gaming on it or anything else, so I could go that route too. So I'm kind of weighing my options right now. I'm hoping that by sometime this afternoon, I've either got some cables ordered up or I've got a new video card ordered up for that, so that I can get this thing back into service and get us back up and running. So what I did in the meantime is I just took another computer we had here in storage, and I've got it here in the office, and it's in the process of updating right now. But you can see I obviously I don't have my audio running or anything because, you know, the audio was tied into the other computer, the server, and so that's kind of down right now. But you know, these things happen. So it hasn't been a real great couple of days here. I was hoping to be working on the King's Cobra today, and that just didn't happen. It's Sunday afternoon. It's probably what, 3 o'clock or so. Let's see what time it is. Yeah, it's 2:30, and I'm still farting around with computers, and I've still got to take a trip to Walmart with the missus because it's that time of the week, and we need to do some shopping. So, you know, the day's pretty much shot. I'm going to get back with you guys probably tomorrow. I think I'm going to sort through some of that stuff for the Coupe. I want to get that engine stand put together. I'll show you what I bought because I've used these engine stands. The small block 302 is on a very similar engine stand. I think I got that one from Summit. This one's from Speedway, but they probably both have them made in the same spot. And then, the last thing is, if you've noticed lately the videos, and it's happening right now, you'll see these black lines going through. My camera is taking a dump. And I've had this camera since I started the channel, and it owes me nothing, honestly. It's been dropped, it's been kicked, it's been, you know, thrown in a trunk on trips and just jostled around everywhere. It owes me absolutely nothing, and so it's going to break my heart to replace it. It's a camera that I was recommended by another vlogger, another channel, Matt at Demolition Ranch. Used these exclusively when he first started his channel, and it's been just a workhorse of a camera. I was happy with it, but you'll notice over the last couple of videos, it has a really hard time lately autofocusing. I think it's just been hit so many times on the lens that it has trouble autofocusing now. And the light, sometimes these LED lights, no matter what I put the settings on in the camera, it has trouble with these LED lights. And so I'm gonna have to break down and buy a new camera. But you know, that's just kind of the way things go. Let me put this camera down. I'll grab my phone and I'll show you exactly what the camera is that I use. Like I said, the camera was recommended by Matt Carricker over at Demolition Ranch. He used these cameras for his channel. And it's a great little camera. I mean, it shoots HD. I don't often edit my videos in HD because, you know, who would want to see my ugly mug in HD? But it's been just a great camera. It's a Sony, and it what's the part number on it? It's an HX, a DSC HX80, and you know, it did all the things that I wanted it to do. It's got HDMI out on it. I don't use that for editing. Generally, I just plug in the USB cord and then send those files directly to the computer and edit them in. I'm now using, Clipchamp in Microsoft, but I used Video Editor for the longest time. And I really like Video Editor. The problem with Video Editor is you cannot do your videos in HD. And it seems like from time to time, people are bugging me, you know, how come you don't shoot in HD? Well, I shoot everything in HD, but Video Editor basically takes all that HD, all those HD files, and it turns them into MP4 files. And so I find it's easier and quicker to edit that way because it doesn't take the computer as long between processes to compile the video and edit. But I'm kind of forced into Clipchamp because I refuse to use a high-dollar editing software for a channel that makes me no money. It makes no sense whatsoever. So this is the camera. Like I said, it's been a great camera. It has a video screen that flips up, so when I'm, you know, staring at the camera, I can see what's in the camera lens. Whereas with my phone, I have to turn the camera around and then everything in the viewfinder is backwards. And then the video is backwards. So I don't like doing that. I like to be able to see what's on the video screen. Now, I have other cameras too. You know, this video isn't turning out what I was hoping it was going to be. But, you know, I have the GoPro here. This is a GoPro 9 or 10. I think it's a 9. And I've been happy with this. It is a 9, so it's a 9. It works great when you're in the car and you're shooting content, you know, on the go. But for working around the shop, it sucks. And so then I got a DJI Action 3, and it's a better camera than the GoPro 9. The problem with the DJI is it did not or will not import MP4s. So everything's HD, and so I think that's an AHCI format, and it makes it more difficult to transfer between the camera and the computer and into the video editing software, unless you're using one of those high-dollar video editing softwares, which I refuse to pay for because, like I said, this channel, it makes me no money. I'm not doing the channel for the money. I'm doing it for the customers and for you guys at home. So it makes no sense for me to invest in a bunch of equipment and editing software and everything else. I will replace the camera. I'm probably going to replace it with another Sony, but that's just part of life. We've used this camera on trips to take still photos as well, and we may continue to because it still works great for that. It's just the video on it lately has sucked, and I don't know if any of you have noticed, but I noticed it really bad during the editing process. So I'm doing this on my phone. I have used my phone in the past for videos, but it's very inconvenient. It's much harder to get the videos shot because, again, I don't have a view of what I am shooting. If I'm shooting, you know, myself in frame, there's no guarantee that I'm going to be in frame because I can't see where I'm at in the frame, if that made sense. So I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow as I'm assembling that engine stand, and hopefully by then I'll have some parts on the way to fix the computer and maybe even replace the camera, because I'm thinking I'm probably just going to order that online and have it delivered here to the shop. Next day, everyone, and I've made a mess. I've made a further mess out here in the shop. I got the engine stand. all put together for the Coyote. And you would think that since this is made, you know, by, I guess it's their own brand, Speedway, that they would accommodate for larger oil pans, and that's not the case. So I had to space out the bottom of the stand with some washers in order for it to clear the pan and the drain plug and stuff like that. I didn't feel like, you know, to start cutting the stand when it's brand new, but I may do that long term. But it's all put together, and I added some wheels to it. I'm just about ready to set it down on the ground. So here's what I bought, and it uses the motor mount mounting holes on this side, and the same thing on the other side. They're just wider spaced on this side. So that's all in, and I'm getting ready to set this thing on the ground. I'm slowly going through all this stuff, checking it out. I have picked up the intake manifold from the ground. I've got it sitting on the shear right now. But I'm going to go over through this stuff over the next couple of days and inventory what I have here, see what I'm missing, and let the owner know so that we can start getting some parts ordered. Because I know, certain things we've done on Coyotes before, like the heater tube crossover and stuff like that. Although we're not going to do a heater tube crossover on this, we're going to actually have a heater. I want to make sure that we get those the fittings that go in the top of the on top of the motor right here. So right now you can see it's got the existing fitting on here where it was cut out of the truck that this engine was in previously. And then on the other side, where's the other one? The other one should be right over here somewhere. Maybe it's in the, is it in the intake manifold? I'll have to check. But I know there's one on the left side of the engine too. We're gonna have to check into all that stuff and order the stuff that we need and get it here so we can get this thing going. So for right now, looks like this thing took a little bit of a hammering. I'm gonna work on getting the sensors. So like there is a crank sensor right there. I believe that's a coolant temperature sensor right there. We might as well replace those while we have it at this stage so that we're not replacing this stuff 6-8 months down the line once this thing gets on the road. It just doesn't make sense. So we're going to go through and any of the sensors that we believe should be replaced, we're going to replace them and go from there. I did have a chance to stop by the auto parts store this afternoon on my way down to the shop. Picked up some caliper paint for the Mark IV. So I'm expecting I'll probably get those done maybe later this week or probably this weekend and get the brakes bled on the Mark IV. But the engine stand is all assembled and it's doing engine stand stuff. In the meantime, I'm working on getting the parts sorted. So I got to go through this box. It's just a mix of all kinds of different parts. I see some intake manifold gaskets. There's some exhaust gaskets over there along with those coil covers. So I got to go through that stuff, put it upstairs, and then over here I got the intake manifold still sitting. I'll probably unwrap that just to do an inventory on what's there, and then most likely wrap it back up, put it upstairs until we're ready for it. And then over here I've got just a mixed bag of stuff. I know I marked that. It says go back engine stuff, so I'm assuming that in there is the PCM for the engine and the wire harness. That's the fuel rail that was on the Coyote before it was disassembled, and then of course there's the bell housing, the clutch, the pressure plate, and the flywheel. And I don't know why the pressure plate and the clutch are screwed together. Actually, you know what? I saw the clutch disc in one of the boxes. So I don't know. I've given up trying to figure this out because the owner told me that they had clearance the bell housing. So I guess one of the other like forum members or somebody that he met on Facebook sent down, you know, a magnetic stand and a dial indicator and all the stuff for him to borrow to dial in the bell housing. Okay, why'd you take it back off? It makes no sense to me. And then over on the transmission, the clutch fork is mounted to it with the throwout bearing behind it, and half of the stuff is there for the hydraulic slave cylinder, but the shaft is missing. So there's no shaft to activate any of it. So like I said, I got to go through and inventory all this stuff, find out what's missing. And this is, you know, these are the things you have to deal with when you take over a build from somebody else. And I've had really good luck in the past. The Mark IV is a pretty good example. All the parts that I need to finish the car were brought down by the owner when, you know, he wanted us to finish the car. This is a little bit different. We've got a middleman here, and I hate to keep harping on this, but, you know, I'm kind of stuck here with my arms, you know, like shrugging my shoulders. What do I do? You know, I need the stuff, but, you know, I can't make too big a deal about it because, you know, the owner and this guy are still friends. So, I don't know. I don't like getting caught in between this kind of stuff, and I'm sure you guys don't enjoy listening to me bitch about it, but this is where I'm at. So I think this is where I'm going to leave the video. It's an odd video. It just is. So, you know, I said this earlier, you know, I probably lost the Factory 5 guys, you know, as soon as I started talking about computer stuff, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. So if any of you who are still here enjoyed any of this content, go ahead and give us a like, a share, a subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.